This season has got to have some of the most out-of-pocket gameplay we've seen in a while, right? I feel like it's been so hard to report on these players this season because so many of them are making these random-ass moves that literally make no sense. And since Tucker is in charge now, this week is no different. We have a lot to cover today, y'all, including another huge house blow-up. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button below if you have not already. I try to make these recaps short and sweet to give you guys a peek behind the reality TV curtain and show you a little bit about what goes down in the actual house. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do. Now, let's get started. So when we last left off, Tucker was the HOH and in charge, which means really anything can happen this week. He had initially put Brooklyn, Cam, and Quinn up on the block, with Brooklyn being his main target. Brooklyn just did not handle being blindsided well at all, and she kind of sort of threw some of her old allies under the bus to save her game, which just ended up making her look shady at the end of the day. Even though Tucker and Quinn have been beefing publicly for a while now, Tucker still has this weird affection for Quinn. I don't really know how to explain it. Really, I think Tucker just likes having somebody in the house that he can argue with, and he sees Quinn as this fun rival. He feels like he can go toe-to-toe with Quinn, but also still beat him in comps at the end of the day, so he's not too much of a threat. So even though they are public enemies, Tucker still doesn't want Quinn leaving just yet. Again, don't ask me the logic on this at all. This is just all what's going on in Tucker's mind. So Tucker decides that he wants to try to get into Quinn's head a little bit and give him a test. Basically, if Quinn is able to keep quiet and not tell anybody that he's not actually the target this week, then Tucker will use the veto to save Quinn if he wins. And yes, I am so freaking serious. It's so hard to talk about Tucker's strategy because honestly, this guy makes no freaking sense most of the time. Like, I literally can't even predict what he's going to do or why he's going to do it, which makes him super fun feeds. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the energy that this guy is bringing to the show. I love the drama. It's just damn near impossible for me to report on. But for now, it looks like all Tucker really wants to do is hold Quinn socially hostage. So all Quinn really has to do is keep quiet. But of course, Quinn being Quinn, he's gonna go and spill the beans to Brooklyn anyway.
Apparently telling you that I was also told I was a pawn. Apparently that was a test for me. And so apparently I'm failing it. So yeah, he's gonna be even more pissed at me, but that's okay if that's what it takes.
This information ends up getting back to Tucker, meaning that Quinn failed the test and now his game is looking very bleak.
I really messed up. I should have kept my mouth shut. There's no excuse. I just messed that up. All there's left to do is win.
So now, at least Brooklyn knows she's the target, right? Because she thought it was going to be Quinn at first. And at this point, Brooklyn is the target for most of the house, so she's going to need to win that veto to save herself. So the house guests are all going to go off to compete. And when the feeds come back on, we see that Tucker has won his third veto in a row. Which, this whole thing is just wild because, number one, he did not need to win this competition at all. It really just makes him a bigger threat. And number two, this competition wasn't even a physical one, which just further proves that Tucker is just this naturally gifted, well-rounded player and also a big threat. In fact, this competition was actually Hide-and-go-veto, the hide-and-seek comp, and I got super duper excited when I heard that this was the one because we have not seen this competition in years, y'all. And this season's version in particular brought a lot of mess to the feeds because apparently it caused a little bit of roommate drama. See, during Hide-and-go-veto, the house normally gets destroyed and torn up in a big mess because people are throwing things everywhere trying to look for the hiding spots. And apparently this year, somebody intentionally threw all of Tucker's personal belongings everywhere. And Tucker, being Tucker, just assumed that Quinn was the one to do it, so he was heated about it.
You didn't even step foot in the room when I was cleaning up the clothes.
Yeah, because I was cleaning up my room. Don't accuse me of that.
Okay,
I didn't do it, so.
I'm pretty darn sure you did.
Okay, and you're wrong, so that's fine.
Yeah, so cool.
Now, he ended up finding out later on that it was actually Brooklyn that did it, but Tucker is still not sorry. In fact, he's glad he went off on Quinn because he wants to use that fight as a distraction because, believe it or not, y'all, Tucker still wants to use the veto to save Quinn.
Just to throw Quinn under the bus so that way we can tell him later, hey, I know it wasn't you, but I don't want anyone to be suspicious.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that as well. So even though I was like,
which is brilliant.
Yeah, as I was saying it, I was like, I'm just gonna run with this because then I can back it up later, and I'm gonna have to talk with him anyway.
And better yet, he wants to blow up the entire game yet again while he's doing it. Again, don't ask me to explain the logic here. I have no idea what's going on in Tucker's mind at this point, but we're just gonna go along with it. So Tucker is going to meet up with his newly formed 6th Avenue Alliance to tell them all about his master plan to save Quinn from the block and put Chelsie up instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna, but you can't fucking tell him because if he doesn't know, and right now he thinks he's going home after our talk, and if he doesn't know, and I do, he's going to trust us that much more.
After putting Chelsie up, he plans to then call a house meeting where he's gonna go and expose the entire Collective and Pentagon alliances. Now, there are a few reasons why this is a fun but dumb idea. First of all, there is literally no reason for Tucker to take Quinn off the block. I mean, dude, you just put him up there. It's not going to do anything to make Quinn grateful or to pull him over to your side for real. He is still going to gun for you. Second of all, some of your allies from the Collective are in this very room with you right now, so it's probably not going to make them super comfortable telling them about how you're just going to expose all their shit. And number 3, and probably the most important one, who is this for, Tucker? Like, literally, who is this all for? At this point, pretty much everybody in the house already know that these 2 alliances exist. Literally half of the house was in the Collective, and the other half have already been told about it. The only 2 people that are just completely out of the loop in this game are MJ and Leah. So these are the only 2 that's going to be gagged by what you're saying. I guess it does just create good chaos and it shakes up the game in general. But overall, this move really isn't going to do anything to elevate Tucker's position in particular. So I don't know if it's the best idea. But for the most part, Joseph, Rubina, and Angela are pretty okay with this plan. But T-Kor and Kimo are pretty resistant. They really want to work with Chelsie, and they don't want her to hit the block because they want to keep her as a number for their game, even though she's not always the most loyal to them.
If he does change the nominations, I think putting Chelsie up specifically would be a mistake for us.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we will need that number.
And we can rebuild stuff with her.
I think stuff like this just says a lot about Chelsea's amazing social game in general. I mean, Chelsie was in the same bad position as Brooklyn was coming into this week, but her ability to play from the bottom has been able to keep her afloat. She didn't freak out after she got blindsided. She didn't throw anybody under the bus or anything. She was very calm and collected with it, which actually probably makes her the bigger threat too. So on Monday, the feeds went off for the veto ceremony, and when they came back on, we see that Tucker did indeed use that veto to save Quinn. And after that, he followed up by putting Chelsie on the block in his place. But Tucker still wasn't done because apparently he also went ahead and exposed all the alliances just like he said he would. We did not catch any of this on the feeds though, which is super duper sad. So unfortunately, we're just gonna have to rely on the episodes to tell us what went down. Chelsie is obviously blindsided by this because she thought that Quinn was going to be the target for sure, but she's also going to get to working immediately. Chelsie immediately starts micro-campaigning for herself, starting with Quinn, who I think is going to end up giving her the vote. Later on, she's going to go up to T-Kor, trying to secure the vote from her and Kimo, which again, I think she'll have this one as well.
I'm not voting for you.
Thank you.
So know that and know that I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that you don't leave this week.
Thank you.
Chelsie is even able to kind of pull Cam over to her side just in case he comes off the block. I don't know. Chelsie is good, y'all. Like, really good. She's definitely the strongest player out of the 3 that are on the block right now. And honestly, she's just one of the best in the house, period. She's just really good in conversations, good at making people feel good about themselves. If we're being honest, she is the biggest threat and she should probably go this week, but we're gonna see how the cards fall. Beyond that, the other main people shook by this move are Leah and MJ, as expected. MJ is upset because she's just been so out of the loop all season that she just didn't know about any of these alliances. She mainly feels lied to by Chelsie because she's been sticking by her the closest. But Chelsie hasn't really fostered that relationship back with MJ. She's always really treated her as a pawn instead of as an ally or a number, which I do think is a big mistake on Chelsea's part. So now Tucker has been putting work on MJ, trying to pull her over to his side. But honestly, she's just so out of the loop in the game. I can just see Tucker viewing MJ the exact same way Chelsie did. After this whole blow up, Leah is really mad too, but honestly, I don't really know why. I guess it's because she's just been out of the loop as well, but she was never really allies with any of these people, and she was also never in any danger of being put up or going home. So again, I don't know why she's so upset, but Leah has just been going around angrily talking out at everybody. That's really all you need to know. So overall, when it's all said and done, Brooklyn is still the main target in the house. Right now, she is set to go home no matter who she sits next to. But if she does end up winning that AI arena, that's where things start to get a little bit tricky. If Chelsie and Cam are left on that block together, we can definitely expect the votes to get a little bit messy. HOH Tucker would rather see Chelsie leave here, but Chelsie still has a lot of allies in the game, including T-Kor and Kimo. So who knows if T-Kor and Kimo are down to go against Tucker and flip the vote again back to back. Honestly, they probably shouldn't, because I think that Chelsie leaving this week would probably be a little bit better for their games, but of course, they don't know that. Some other random things to note. Joseph is now starting to take a little bit of heat after he flipped on the last vote. People like Chelsie and Brooklyn are mad at him because he's credited with starting this collective alliance in the first place, only to end up turning on it. So there are just rumors of Joseph playing a shady game going around the house, just something little to note. And in Showmance news, since Tucker has had the HOH room all to himself this week, him and Rubina have taken this as an opportunity to start getting a little busy. Thankfully, the cameras are always off during this stuff, so I don't know any specific details of what all they've been doing. But now that they're officially hooking up, I feel like these two are going to be pretty locked in together in the game. Look, they can pretend like this showmance isn't going to affect their games all they want. But once people start getting physical, they are almost always locked in together to the end. Now, Tucker's a little crazy, so I'm not going to go so far as to say he'll never betray Rubina ever in this game. But Rubina has been having dreams of meeting Tucker's mom and all this stuff now, so it's probably a wrap for her. So that's all I have for today. I gotta say, I actually really like the way this AI arena has been keeping us feedsters guessing till the end. Normally, we always kind of know who's gonna be leaving before the eviction, but with this twist, every Thursday is a surprise, so that's been a lot of fun. Of course, I'll be back here to update you all if there are any other big changes in the game, but until then, bye.